rolling along the highway. There is merry adventure in every wonderful mile. We're gliding along the byway, light-hearted and free in streamlined style.
As we travel over the countryside, there's romance and fun will not end.
See enchanting places and greet new faces, and you will find a friend. It's a wonderful, happy feeling, rolling along the broad highway. There's the open road in view. Every mile there's something new to make your trip a happy, thrilling thing to do. You see that good old USA in the most convenient way. It makes a glamorous, thrifty holiday. We're rolling along.
My name's Susan Bregman, and I'm originally from New York City originally, but I consider Boston home. My first memory of Route 1 was probably when I was in grad school. I was in my late 20s, and a friend and I, we used to go up to Maine sometimes. We'd go to Old Orchard Beach, play arcade games, and then on the drive home, we'd always stop at the Hilltop.
A final roundup at the Hilltop Steakhouse. With the clock ticking, those steaks are flying off the grill.
It's the last roundup for the Hilltop Steakhouse. The landmark restaurant on Route 1 in Saugus is going out of business on October 20th. Restaurant officials told Saugus Selectmen in a letter there's been a big drop in business. Patrons say the long lines outside are gone.
It's a New Englander's fantasy of the Wild West, with the fiberglass cattle and the dining rooms named after, Santa Fe and Kansas City. It was once the busiest restaurant in the United States in the mid-'80s when it was at its peak. And then it just started going downhill. Times changed, the ownership changed, they tried to expand, and things just didn't go well, and it just kind of faded away, and it closed in 2013. So they sold off the cattle, they sold off all the memorabilia, they took the sign, the giant cactus, the 60-foot cactus, updated it. They ripped out the neon, they put LED lighting in, and they incorporated it into the new development on the site. So it's there, there's still a cactus, but it's just not the same. And then it's gone, so that, the places where people used to gather are not there anymore.
I mean, the Kowloon is it has to be. It has to be everyone's number one.
Because I grew up in this business since I was a kid, basically, I don't think of it as a big legacy. I know it is. I just think of it as a place I went to work for the last 50 years. Hey. But my grandparents on my mother's side opened a restaurant here, same spot, in 1950. It wasn't the size it is now, naturally. It was an ice cream parlor. They bought that and put a little Chinese restaurant with about 40 seats, somewhere around 40 seats. And that was 1950, so that's why we're in that 75th year this year.
Like, I remember going to celebrate my grandfather's birthdays there when I was like a kid, and Bobby Wong would like open the door for us and would like seat us in the pirate ship. And like, if you're lucky, that still happens. Like, we could go over there right now, and there's like a pretty good chance that he would be there and that we would get seated. You know, it's you can physically and literally travel back in time walking through those doors over there.
All right, this is the kitchen, so just watch yourself. I don't want anyone getting hurt. It's pretty busy. Here is all the appetizers, like fried foods. They fry everything here. All the waiters and waitresses pick up their orders. All the takeout orders pack the orders here. It's just crazy usually. Our head chef right over there.
I was born in where they live. We lived in their house. See, my mom grew up in an orphanage, and basically when she was probably around 16, 17, she used to babysit for a family, Madeline, who was the owner of Kowloon, and she saw my mom babysitting the kids. And Madeline must have asked my mom, listen, if you ever want to, I need a babysitter. You know, and then my mom ended up being like a live-in babysitter for the family. So I grew up with them. They're like my brothers and sisters.
And then we have the employee aspect where we really want to better their lives, and we've done, I think, a really good job, you know, not taking credit for anything, but I think we follow in the footsteps of my parents where, you know, we've helped people with down payments of a house or a car, or, you know, people made this a career. I mean, that's why we have people here 40, 50 years. It's unheard of in any business a lot of times now.
I really believe that if it wasn't for the Wong family, we probably wouldn't be as well off as we are today. My family, at least. My mom and dad worked for Kowloon like over 50 years each. My father started as a cook, then he was a waiter, and then my mom started at, she was a waitress, and then she became the manager of the takeout area, and she did a lot of things, and she's still here today. She's 83 now. She comes in on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, just opens kind of like to keep herself busy.
It's been generations. You know, I have people coming up to me, and we kind of reminisce how they had their first date here. They had their prom here, and as they get older, they may have had their bridal shower, or in some cases even weddings here. And in many instances, when somebody passes that was a big fan of the restaurant, they would basically, the children or the spouse might come up and say, you know, we had to have the dinner after the funeral here because this is what he or she would have wanted. So we go from the time they were born to the time they transitions out of the world, out of this world. So it's a great feeling to know that you're a big part of people's lives. It's not just a restaurant, but I think we celebrated a lot of their ups and, in some cases, the downs. But it's a celebration for everybody, and it feels good that we're part of it for a lot of people. So. But the community as itself, they're really close. You know what I'm saying? It could be Steve or another Chinese restaurant or any restaurant. They say, we ran out of some kind of ingredient. Do you have it? And we would do it. It's not like borrowing a cup of sugar next door.
Very close to those guys. Bobby Wong especially. He and I talked, I think we talked every day during COVID because we were kind of comparing notes. So we've grown to be very, very close. I love those guys. If they need anything, or we need anything, you know, we go back and forth. There's no, us and Kowloon's are the only two independent restaurants left. This place was built in the late 50s, and it was floundering. It wasn't doing anything. So he said, well, maybe I'll buy it. I don't know why. I think they thought he'd be here for a couple of weeks and then say, can I have my job back? But it didn't work that way. And so it became 1961. He started working hard with my grandfather as well. And he just developed a consistent culture here by being here.
Prince Pizza still tastes the same way that it did when I was 9 years old at like T-ball banquets. Like, it's the same. It's great. It's cool how reliably like kept those places are.
We've kept it consistent. We have generational employees now. There's no problem to see 3 generations at one table, 4 generations at one table. It's very, you know, I have a birthday party for a little girl coming up. The mother said this is her 9th birthday, and she's had all 9 birthday parties there. So we got to be doing something right.
It's been at least 30 years, if not longer. And my family's always come here. My brother's always here. He's always here. And it's just always been consistently awesome and great. The food is great, and the people really make it feel like a family.
Coming to Prince, well, ever since I was a kid. So I'm from Saugus. So ever since I was born, I think my first communion or christening was here. So that I've always known Prince. It's always been a staple in my childhood. But working here since 19 years old, so I'm 25 now. I love the people who I can catch them the first time here, really spoil them, and they come back. So that's how we do it. That's how Steve has taught us to do it.
Excuse me, Nana, do you need something? Probably coming. What kind is it? Yeah. What's that? It should be right out. The way I feel about it, if a chain kicks your butt, if a chain restaurant kicks your butt, the shame on you, because you have the ability to do things personally. Because it takes longer, because there's 2 sides of the kitchen. The ovens take a little bit longer. Could be. Excuse me, I'm going to go help. I'm going to go help you.
It is like home. That's why you get that home feeling, like everything's, especially Route 1, and everything's changed so much, but you feel as though this has never changed. It's always been consistently awesome. You know, it's just been, and I mean that, it's just always been like coming home.
I'm very proud of it. It doesn't come by mistake. It's nothing I take for granted. But they keep opening chicken places. They've opened like 5 chicken places in the last year. No other pizza places.
I think one of the reasons that Route 1, we've seen so much change recently in Route 1, it really started in the 60s when the interstate highway system was put in place, and suddenly motorists were diverted from Route 1, and they would be on the interstate and weren't driving along, weren't staying in these motels anymore, weren't eating at the diners anymore, weren't shopping at the little stores anymore. They were just trying to make time on the interstate, and things maybe sprang up around the interchanges, but by and large, it was the growth of the interstate highway system that really started the long, slow decline of roads like Route 1. The miniature golf course that used to be there, Route 1 miniature golf and batting cages. That was a third place. That was a community place. People would go there. I went there. I don't play golf. I went there to do miniature golf. And, they had all these giant statues at all the holes and windmills and, and the orange dinosaur. And when the miniature golf place closed, and it was, I think, 2nd generation family owned by then, and it didn't close that long ago, there was this hue and cry to save the dinosaur. And they did. But there's no context for that dinosaur.
I am personally grateful that I can still visit the orange dinosaur and I can still see its like majesty above the highway. But I do feel like they are sort of like trivial gifts, like back to the community in place of something that could be much better. Putting an old landmark at the foot of a high-rise condo building with a micro gym in the basement, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like anything's been given back other than hey, you can still see this thing.
Route 1 is not unique in this regard, but the highway used to be lined with small businesses, distinctive mom and pop operated businesses, and then every time one closes, it's just a little bit of emptiness, I guess.
We told people that we might be closing. They got out there and people were, like going, in a good way. It felt great that people responded in the way they did, that they were, almost going crazy in terms of you can't close and things like that. Even now we get it. But I think it's because they hold on to a piece of nostalgia or a piece of memories where, having meals with their families or whoever it was, it brings back good memories and good feelings. And whenever I see a customer I haven't seen for like 20, 30 years, it kind of like takes over me a little bit and say, oh my God, here's somebody that I hadn't seen and they used to come in every week. But
Family business can be very difficult in that there's personality and there's emotion involved along with money. So anyway, we're back talking now, but I'm at a point now where I still enjoy coming here every day and seeing customers, and I think I'd be lost without working. I'm 71, so I got at least a few more years, and no one following me. That's unfortunately, but that's okay.
I mean, as you said, there might not be a fourth generation of Castaberti to run Prince Pizza, but I feel hopeful for the future of Prince. Even if there's no fourth generation, I feel Prince will remain. The business is good. If it stayed how it is, there's no reason for it to leave.
There was a focus 50, 70, 100 years ago on making a business that would last generations, like on building institutions. And I think now entrepreneurs dream about starting a business, running it for 5 years, and then selling it for a profit. So nothing's built to foster memories in people. Nothing's built for people to share with their children or their grandchildren. And that's a real shame, except that those places are still here, the ones that were built 50, 70 years ago, and you can still go to them, and that's very cool. Yeah. That's what's really special about this place.
Values have changed. And that's part of it. Some of these places are sitting on tons of land, and the land is too valuable, so they just sell it. They sell the property, and who can blame them?
There's a lot of jobs at stake here. A lot of people have been working here all their lives, cooks and waiters. But I can totally understand why they want to downsize, because this restaurant is massive. It's 1,200 seats. On a Friday or Saturday, sometimes we have it completely full, and people are waiting in line for things. And it takes a lot of manpower to do that.
What is next? We're planning. We're waiting for the town to help us move it along. It takes a little while, as everything does. And we're planning on building 2 apartment buildings. And on each apartment building at the bottom, first floor will be commercial space. So our goal is in one of them, is to put the Kowloon restaurant there.
I'm sure,
it's sentimental, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not sure how I'm gonna react when the place gets knocked down. Either it's like, I feel like I just got let out of jail, or there'll be emotions, of course, But, my mindset, like with my kids, has never been to, I'm not looking for a legacy with it handed off to the next generation unless they really want it. That doesn't bother me at all. And they're enjoying their lives, and that's the key.
My dream is really to maybe begin to parse out ownership to my wonderful managers and keep it going as it is.
I think, people are inclined by their very nature to form communities, and they'll find other places to form them that just won't be in the Kowloon anymore, which is like, a little bit heartbreaking to me personally, but they won't care.
When you can easily say, make this world a better place, but that's like, oh my God, yeah, that's kind of like crazy, like wishing for world peace, but which is not crazy. But basically, it's your little slice of your area that you live, the people the neighborhood, the people that you come in contact with. If you can make that little slice of the big pie a better place with better, how you treat people, not only customers, of course, that we want to do customers, not only because of the business aspect, but we really take it to heart if somebody leaves unhappy, whereas in a chain restaurant, the manager, okay, well, whatever happens, hopefully they come back.
So we're coming up on the 100-year anniversary of Route 1 next year. That's so good to know. And I really wish there could be a
Perfect.
celebration.
Right?
Yeah. So maybe we can make it happen.
We're rolling along. America for me.
Because I'm more focused on like which specific town does the guy who drives the lifted Silverado, like with the truck nuts hanging off the bottom, come from? Like where, and like what's his custody battle look like?